The corridors of the Zorinthian imperial palace were carved from living crystal, glowing faintly with a bioluminescence that made the whole place shimmer like a dream. It was designed to impress visiting diplomats, terrify political rivals, and remind the galaxy that the Zorinthian queen ruled not only with wisdom but with beauty woven into every facet of her domain. None of this mattered to Daniel Briggs. He was the palace janitor. Armed with a mop that seemed too mundane for such majestic halls, Daniel whistled a faint tune as he scrubbed at a stubborn stain near the throne chamber. It wasn't glamorous work, actually most would consider it degrading, but he had a simple philosophy. Even the grandest of places needed someone to keep it clean. He found peace in the rhythm of work, in the shine of polished floors that reflected the light like calm water. The queen was gone, off on a month-long diplomatic tour of the Outer Rim. The palace staff had loosened up in her absence, and many assumed she wouldn't notice the small lapses. Daniel, however, had his own code. If the queen returned tomorrow, he wanted her to see spotless halls, not the sloppiness of those who grew lazy in her absence. As he leaned over to wring out the mop, he caught himself muttering, "Doesn't matter if you're royalty or janitor, everyone slips on a dirty floor the same way." He chuckled. The return. The sound came without warning, a low hum in the walls, the resonance of a ship docking directly with the palace's upper chamber. Daniel froze, mop halfway through a sweep. The queen wasn't due back for another 2 weeks. But the tremor in the crystal floors confirmed it. She had returned early. Panic rippled through the palace staff. Cooks rushed to prepare an impromptu feast. Guards scrambled to their posts. Advisors whispered curses under their breath. Daniel sighed, dipped his mop again and went back to work. If the queen wanted perfection, the least he could do was give her a clean throne room to walk into. Moments later, the great doors opened. Queen Zytheria swept in, her tall frame draped in layered robes that shimmered like starlight trapped in fabric. Her crown of living crystal pulsed faintly with her heartbeat, a regal aura that made lesser beings tremble. Her entourage followed, guards, diplomats, attendants, but she raised one slender hand, halting them at the door. She wanted privacy. She wanted to step into her palace alone. So she did. And then she froze. Or she saw. The mighty queen, feared across empires, stopped in her tracks when her eyes fell on Daniel. The human janitor was kneeling on the polished crystal floor, not bowing in reverence, not scrambling to hide, but carefully repairing something at the base of her throne. The throne of Zorinthia was more than a seat. It was a living artifact, grown from the first crystal of her people's world, infused with their collective essence. It was sacred. No alien hand was permitted near it. Yet here was Daniel, tools spread beside him, gently cleaning and polishing the cracked base of the throne with a care that was almost reverent. He whispered softly as he worked, words not meant to be heard. Zytheria's sharp eyes caught the motion of his hand brushing the crystal with a cloth, not scrubbing like a brute, but caressing with patience. His touch was respectful, delicate, loving even. She should have called the guards. She should have ordered his execution on the spot. But instead she watched. The confrontation. Daniel looked up, sensing her presence before he heard it. His mop clattered as he scrambled to his feet. "Your Majesty. You weren't supposed to be back yet." Her voice was cold at first, as sharp as the crystalline throne itself. "Human. What do you think you are doing?" Daniel scratched the back of his neck, suddenly very aware that his mop water smelled faintly of citrus, a scent probably unbecoming of royalty. "Well, the throne's base had a crack. It's been collecting dust. Nobody else seemed eager to deal with it, and I figured, if something's broken, you fix it. Didn't feel right leaving it like that." The queen's eyes narrowed. No one touches the throne of Zorinthia. Not even my highest priests. Daniel swallowed. Then maybe they should. Because it was gathering grime, your majesty. And grime spreads. I've seen whole ships rot because no one cleaned the first patch of rust. There was silence. Heavy, suffocating silence. Then unexpectedly Cytherea laughed. It was a low, melodic sound like glass chimes struck by wind. You are a strange creature, human. Do you know what that throne represents? Daniel shrugged. To me, it represents something that deserves care. Doesn't matter if it's a mop, a throne, or a whole empire. If you don't take care of it, you'll lose it. Seeds of respect. The queen dismissed her entourage with a flick of her hand. Only she and Daniel remained in the great chamber. You risked death by laying hands on it, she said softly. And yet, you did not do so out of ambition or sacrilege, but out of duty. Daniel rubbed the back of his neck again. I just didn't want the cracks spreading. One little thing can turn into a big mess real fast. Humans. We're stubborn about fixing what we can. Cytherea tilted her head, studying him. Your kind intrigues me. You are fragile compared to most species I rule over. And yet, you behave as though you are unafraid of consequence. Daniel smirked faintly. Oh, I was afraid. Dilem. Just figured fear's not a reason to stop doing the right thing. The queen's crystalline crown pulsed brighter. For the first time in many cycles, she felt something stir in her chest that was neither suspicion nor authority. It was respect. Genuine, uncalculated respect for a creature who should have been beneath her notice. The test. Over the following days, word spread that the queen had not executed the human janitor. In fact, she summoned him more often. Daniel found himself cleaning in her presence, and sometimes, speaking with her. She would test him with questions. What do you think of my empire's rule? Why do humans always resist assimilation? What makes you loyal when none demand it? Daniel answered as best he could, always honest, never deferential beyond what respect demanded. He told her about Earth, how humans rebuilt after wars, after plagues, after catastrophes, how they were stubborn not because they were strong but because they refused to stay broken. He explained how even a janitor mattered, how cleaning was not about servitude, but about preserving the beauty and function of something greater than oneself. And slowly, the queen listened, not just out of curiosity, but hunger, for in his words, she glimpsed a philosophy her empire had forgotten. The crisis. Then came the crisis. A faction within the Zorinthian court plotted to seize power, furious that the queen had shown favor to an alien. They unleashed sabotage within the palace. Crystal rot, a rare infection that spread through the living structures, threatening to collapse the throne chamber itself. Panic gripped the advisors. The priests wailed. Warriors blamed one another. And Daniel, he picked up his tools. Rot's rot, he muttered. Doesn't matter if it's in wood, metal, or crystal. You cut out the bad, clean the wound, and seal it before it spreads. The queen found him again at the base of her throne, this time with acid neutralizers and sealant. The infection hissed as he worked, sweat dripping down his brow.